Welcome to the YouTube Domination webinar, Winning with Authority Content. My name is David Jennings and I'll be the presenter that will go through. You can see there my Twitter handle. If you have any specific questions, you can reach out, follow me there and ask me questions. Also, you can check out our website, melbourneseoservices.com, in the lower right hand corner. Now, the reason we're doing this webinar just prior to you moving into the Authority Content course is I just want to put it in context and give you a little bit of an understanding of what led to the development of authority content and how you can use this process to really dominate on YouTube. As we all know, the web's evolving, a lot more competition, both with competitors coming online, but also with Google getting smarter with their algorithm as well. We need a solid strategy that'll stand the test of time, and that really is what the evolution of authority content is all about. It's a strategy to mass create a whole bunch of high quality content that then is chopped up into pieces and syndicated around the web. At the central core part of this strategy is the use of YouTube, because we're capturing this rich media, the video, and then we're uploading that through to YouTube. Now, this is something that we've applied for our own business and also clients' businesses as well through Melbourne SEO Services, and we've just got some killer results. In fact, that's how I popped up on Dory's radar. She was in the process of looking for someone to help out with a YouTube presentation for this particular course that she's going through at the moment, and she'd done some different searches and I had kept on popping up. Now, Dory and I had done some work in the past. She's come along and presented at one of my workshops. I've presented at one of her workshops, and I actually got to know her many years ago through Jeff Johnson. We're kind of going back, I don't even know, probably over 7 years or so now, and that was sort of my first introduction into online marketing, and she really helped to form that foundation. So it's a great pleasure and an honor to be invited to present through to her audience and share with them some of the things that I've picked up and some of the wins that we've had along the way. So just by way of introduction, I want to tell you a little bit of a story about a 19-year-old super smart Romanian and what he taught me about viral videos. This gentleman here actually partnered with another marketer here in Melbourne, and they did a few little projects. This guy wants to take the world by storm, and he's got some fantastic ideas on how he can change the world. The first project that this Melbourne marketer and this Romanian here, Raul, did together was they built a little Lego spaceship and strapped on a helium balloon and sent it up into space with a GoPro attached as well, and then they recovered the footage. That then got uploaded to YouTube and got some good coverage. He's also built a jet-powered bike as well, which again got some great coverage. The project that I want to talk to you about is the one that I got involved in and formed the foundation of a viral video that got seen over 7 million times and picked up by 150 different news outlets around the world. And what it was he came up with this idea of building a Lego car and have it life-size and powered by air. So everything was to be made out of Lego, including the engine and the steering wheel, the seats, doors, absolutely everything except for the wheels and the load-bearing struts. So he came up with this idea and approached this other Melbourne marketer who thought, yep, this sounds like a really fun little project. So he did a little bit of crowdfunding with some people in a small group, and basically he posted something on Twitter saying, I've got this really cool project that I'm about to take part in. I want to try and get some people involved. I can't really tell you much about it at the moment, other than I need $500 and you'll need to PayPal it to me to get involved. And chances are it won't get any real traction and may or may not succeed, and you'll most likely never see your money back again. So that was enough for me to go, okay, yep, this is a project that I want to get involved in. And I sent him $500 and he collected a whole lot of money from some different crowdfunding avenues, and got a little bit of a budget together to help Raul bring to light his idea of this life-size Lego car. So then he worked on it, Raul worked on it for a period of 18 months, and in the final stages he had the car shipped over from Romania, that's obviously where he lives, had it shipped back to Melbourne, Australia, where the launch was going to happen. In the shipping container, the car got a little bit banged up, so I actually went down to the workshop there and rebuilt the side fender. So I'm happy to say that I helped rebuild or build this life-size Lego car. And then we actually flew Raul out from Romania to Melbourne, and early one morning at 4 a.m. in the morning out in the Melbourne suburbs, we took the car out for a spin, and it can sort of reach a top speed. I think it's between about sort of 12 and 18 miles. So it's not a huge top speed or anything like that, but it's a pretty amazing technical feat, because the engine's got, I think it's about 250 pistons that move up and down, and that pushes the drive shaft and gets the car to move forward. And my video production team, Melbourne Video Productions, they were there to film the video, and then we put it together. Now, if you want to do a search, you can head over to YouTube, and you can search for life-size Lego car powered by air, and you'll see it's well over 7 million views, and I talked about it earlier. It had over 4 million views in 30 days and got some worldwide coverage. So we're going back a little while now, I think a little over maybe about 18 months or thereabout since this actually happened, and it was great just to be involved in this and really be at the center of a viral video. But it really taught me some valuable things about YouTube and making money from web videos and using YouTube as well. And that is that the biggest takeaway is that a viral video won't make you rich. Just because you get a video that takes the world by storm doesn't mean it's going to be depositing gobs of money into your bank account. Even though we'd set up AdSense to get some pre-roll advertising revenue that way, it still just didn't make a huge amount of money for us. And it wasn't about the money when we did do it. I mean, it was a bit more of a campaign, a labor of love. But on the flip side, it really taught me this idea that when working with YouTube, it's not about going viral. It's not about having a video that takes the world by storm, and that's not necessarily the goal or the objective here. What I'm going to talk to you about, this authority content process that we do through YouTube, is about putting out great high quality video content, doing it consistently, making sure that we optimize it, and then we build almost like a snowball gains momentum as it rolls down a hill and then turns into an avalanche. That's effectively what we're doing. We're creating an avalanche of these videos that then will just keep driving traffic and help convert sales on your website. So this is just a snapshot of the last year on my YouTube channel. I've got a couple of YouTube channels. I used to be in the stock market education niche, and that channel's well over a couple of million views now. Then there's this channel here as I've moved into the online marketing arena, Melbourne SEO Services. But you can see the YouTube channel there, youtube.com/the SEO method. And the things I want to do, and this is, I suppose, to quote a classic Tony Robbins line, this is not necessarily to impress you, but rather to impress upon you how effective these strategies can be. You can notice that over the last year, close to 1.5 million minutes have been watched on my YouTube channel. And that's not, with that viral video wasn't uploaded to this channel because it was something that I was involved in, but I didn't necessarily own the video. So this is separate. This is going through the process I'm going to talk about called authority content. And you can see that totals close to 24,000 or a little bit over 24,000 hours worth of content of me being watched. Now this is really quite amazing when you think about it. people getting some of my best content, helping to position me as the authority and the expert, helping to pre-sell my products and services, and YouTube behind Google organic search is my next biggest referrer back to the website. So it's driving a significant amount of traffic back, and I think for the traffic that comes over, it's highly qualified because it's someone who's watched a video, liked my content, engaged, and then come back to the website to find more. So it really is, this is a peek behind the curtain to see how effective this strategy can actually be. So I've got a couple of companies. I obviously mentioned melbourneseoservices.com. I've got another company because I believe in video so much. We set up melbournevideoproduction.com.au, and if you can see a little bit of a pattern there, I think that's my old school SEO background there. Whenever I name a company or a URL, I always try and have a very keyword-rich domain name and something that almost says what the product does or the service does right out of the box. It pretty much explains what we do. But when we set up Melbourne SEO Services first, we started delivering video services, and then we quickly discovered, hang on, this is something that's becoming an important component for SEO, and it's an important component for content creation, so much so that we decided, okay, we're going to go ahead and create a new company, which is what we split out here. Some of the snapshots here, this is just examples of authority content in the wild and actually working. You'll notice some videos with just a few views, anything from around 100 to some with a few thousand. It's not about going viral. This particular channel here and this screenshot is a little bit dated. You can actually see on the previous shot that I showed you, we're well over 1 million views now, and the subscriber rate has jumped significantly, close to 7,000 as well. So this is just a little slide from a slide deck that I'd done previously. And the good thing about this type of marketing that I'm going to teach you is it really helps you become an authority. And that's really what it's about online these days. I think if you can build up your authority in an industry, it'll help with every aspect of your marketing. It'll help improve conversion. It'll help you earn links, which will help you get visibility in the organic search rankings. It just all flows. So that's the aim of the game for me, to build up positioning and authority. And I do that primarily through video. And it's given me the opportunity to work with some mini celebrities. You can see them in the bottom left-hand corner. That may not mean much to you if you're looking at this overseas, but we've done some work with some big people. I've spoken in front of some large audiences and worked with some fantastic clients and got some excellent media coverage. And all of that really I attribute back to authority content and the YouTube strategy that you'll be learning. So how did it all come about? Well, working with Melbourne SEO Services, we find that content these days is such an important component of online marketing. And so much so I say, hey, you don't actually have an SEO strategy unless you have a content strategy. But working with clients, it's very hard to get content out of them. It's, you'll try and get them to do articles or something that they can regularly post on their blog, and they just never get round to it. Small and medium-sized businesses, they're just busy doing the day-to-day, let alone trying to make space for creating content, which is critical now for online marketing. Now, sometimes they'll try and extend out beyond their immediate team, and they might look to get a freelancer or an outsourcer to create the content. But oftentimes there's different problems that arise for that. If they've got a bit of a tight budget, they'll get low-quality articles written from someone whose English might not be their first language, and that's reflected in the article and then doesn't get appropriately shared around. And if people do actually find it, it probably does more harm than it does good because of the quality of the content. Or they might go for a freelancer who doesn't quite understand the subject matter. They might pay a little bit more and they might be a great writer, but they're not experts on that particular topic. So again, they're not demonstrating the quality that they've got. So for working with clients, for me, it was like squeezing blood from a stone, and I just couldn't get the content out. Yet I knew that these business owners, they had a mountain of content if they could just get it out. And that's really when I started to look for alternative solutions, and video was the direction that we had headed. We were looking for almost like an elegant solution to this problem. How do we extract as much content as we can from the client? How do we make it as easy as possible? And then how can we take that content, chop it up into pieces, load it to YouTube, and syndicate it around the web? Obviously, at the center of that, it's video. That really is the easiest way to do it. So we came up with this method where we went out to the client's place of business and we worked with them for half a day or a day, and we captured as much video content as we could in that space in time. And once we'd got that, we could chop it up into pieces, upload it to YouTube, optimize it, and it would give enough content for them for a 3 or 6 month period, depending on how quickly we dripped it out. And we started to get some really great traction just on the video side of things before we even added in the other components you'll learn in Authority Content for sharing that content round and repurposing it. We just found video really is still the lowest hanging fruit online. And that's obviously because organic search is getting a lot more competitive, but also to do video and to do it reasonably well, there is a little bit of a hurdle, and a lot of people get stuck sort of overcoming that stumbling block. But the way that I think about it these days is every company really needs to be seeing themselves as a media company. This is an important component. If you're a larger size organization, you need to embrace the idea of getting someone on board who really champions becoming a media company and capturing this type of content, and then also syndicating it round. Or you need to be finding a partner like Melbourne SEO Services or Melbourne Video Production to help you actually do it. Because video is taking off, and we are just very much at the early days. Like, this is just the start of the trend. Even though video is very much at the forefront, it is growing in leaps and bounds. And the prediction is by 2018 that 3/4 of all consumer traffic is going to be in the consumption of web video. Now, that's a pretty amazing fact, or a pretty amazing statistic and prediction that they're going after there. Even if it misses that or comes close or surpasses that, as long as you identify that, hey, this is a tremendous trend here. And that's one of the things I think that I've used to my advantage. And if I look back now about how I've managed to grow the businesses that we have, a big part of it is picking the right trends to get in front of. Sometimes if you're in front of a huge trend that is going incredibly well, you don't even have to do that well, and you can still perform incredibly well because the trend is so massive. And I don't know if you've heard that old saying, all boats rise on a floating tide. So that means even if you're doing it averagely, but you're on a big trend, the work that you do does get pulled along by this trend. So for me, video being a huge trend and understanding, no one's really properly cracked this whole smart TV thing. But when someone does that and they get a great smart TV, I know there's Chromecast and I know there's Apple TV, but once this gets better and better in the integration between consumption of digital media and your traditional TV, that's really when we're going to start to see further jumps. So you want to try and have your video content in place. And what we're talking about here, when we're talking about YouTube, it's you're creating almost like a little asset. I think of it like a digital asset. You're creating this content that then lives out on the web, and you might get benefit from it for the next 3, 5, 10 years because you've put the content up there. And as long as you're conscious of trying to make it evergreen content, it'll continue to drive traffic back to your website. I mentioned earlier, previous life, I was actually in the stock market education niche. At least I think I mentioned that earlier. I mentioned the YouTube channel, but even to this day, I've uploaded videos onto that channel, which is well over, what was it now? I think probably coming close to 10 years old now, or maybe a little bit younger than that. But that channel, even to this day, even though I haven't operated in that space for the past sort of 5 years or more, it still drives traffic, it still gets views, and I still make sales as a result of that work that I did a long time ago. So hopefully that's enough to inspire you to really get you excited by video. So what is authority content? And this process, I've mentioned it a couple of times. I feel quite fortunate that I was able to coin this term early on, and it just so happened I got it at the right time. I mean, we own authoritycontent.com, but I got it at the right time when authority really was starting to rise. And as Google released their Google quality guidelines, and there was a lot of talk about the EAT acronym, the expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness. And that's all around becoming an authority and building it up. And the way that I see authority content, it's basically the merging between traditional SEO and content marketing. Now, a lot of traditional SEOs, they have it wrong because they're putting out a whole bunch of content with very little regard to the quality, and they'll be SEOing it and they're doing it for the sake of building links. And that strategy really these days is short-lived. You need to be putting out high quality content. And then the content marketers, I feel like they've got it wrong as well, because a lot of content marketers just focus on the quality content without really much thought about syndication, without much thought about optimization. And a great message is fantastic, but if no one ever ends up hearing about it, it's not really worth anything. So authority content is the combination, the mesh between traditional quality SEO and content marketing, and that's kind of where that sweet spot is. It's a 3-stage process where I talk about present, product, and promote. So presenting is all about that one day or that half a day where you go in and you batch your content creation, and it's about finding the balance between having good quality content but also going for the quantity as well. So we're not talking about these highly produced videos that cost many thousands of dollars. From one day's worth of content, you might actually get 40 different little video snippets that we can optimize and use. I'm also going to recommend that step 2 is you turn that into a product, whether that's a paid product or some businesses it doesn't make sense, and you do it as almost like a wiki on your website where you can collate all of the information and have it in some sort of chronological order so it makes sense. And then we take that content and then we promote it around the web. Now, this 3-stage process, when it works together, it's more than just YouTube domination. It's really a way to dominate the web, because we take the content and we repurpose it across a variety of different platforms. That helps the YouTube videos to rank, but also those different platforms drive traffic in their own right. And that's not to mention it helps to position as the authority, which will improve your conversion rate and things like that when people do finally get to your website. So I don't need to go into the great detail in this webinar, because you've got the entire authority content workshop that you'll be going through after having a look at this webinar. That was a 1-day workshop that I ran where I basically outlined this strategy in great detail. What I wanted to do is give you a little bit of an overview and then talk specifically about YouTube and how this will enable you to get great visibility on YouTube. So it starts off with YouTube. YouTube is the cornerstone of this process. Once you've got that content, it's about uploading it to YouTube and then taking the content and splitting it out and repurposing it. And that involves everything from splitting out the audio and either uploading it to something like iTunes or SoundCloud. It involves getting the transcriptions written from the audio and pairing the video with the transcriptions onto your website. It's about, if you've got slides from the presentation, it's about uploading that to SlideShare. It's about taking the transcripts and turning them into PDFs and uploading them to something like a PDF sharing site, and then also potentially taking that content and turning it into a high quality ebook or something that you can use and share around as well. And then taking all of that content as you're dripping it out over a period of time and sharing it socially around your different platforms, Twitter, Facebook, and Google Plus and LinkedIn, and any social media strategy or place that you're actively involved in. That process itself, the great thing about it is it can be very much automated. Once the content is created from the YouTube component, you can really get other team members to step in and do it for you. If you've followed along with some of my other material and talk about building up virtual teams over in the Philippines, a lot of what I'm talking about, it can be very process driven, where that way you're still creating high quality content, but you're not necessarily having to work with a freelancer, a copywriter who might be charging you top dollar, because the seed piece of content comes from your material, from batching that content. As it flows through all of the rest of the stages, it remains quite high. And you can use processes and procedures. That's one of my strengths. I'm a little bit of a systems guy, and we've really kind of got this down to a fine art. But you'll learn a lot of that as you go through the course. It starts off by uploading through to YouTube, as we talked about. You can see some screenshots there from some of the videos from my trading YouTube channel, but I've also got the YouTube link again through the SEO method. Whenever I do anything, I always like to be the best example of what it is that we're teaching. So if ever you come across something that I've mentioned in a presentation, or you've got a question, of course, just tweet me and I'll point you back to some of the material that we've done that we best represent what it is that we're teaching. You can also obviously visit the websites, melbournevideoproduction.com.au, melbourneseoservices.com, and you'll see all of this stuff live in action. So once you've got that content, you then drip it out over a period of time. And these are just some of the screenshots from some of the different presentations. I put the one in the bottom left-hand corner because that was actually the SEO Nitro course, or SEO Nitro Rockstars event that I went to with Dory and did a presentation there. But any bit of video content that I create, I take it through this authority content process. I chop it up into segments, I upload it to YouTube, and then I drip it around different platforms. I start off, it gets uploaded to the blog, my blog, where I'll embed the video and put the transcription underneath that. And then I go to my social media platforms. You can see Google Plus there. You can see Facebook on the top left. You can see I also email out to my database as well on the right. That's my Aweber list, but actually we've recently moved to Infusionsoft. But we take that content and we post it round, and that helps to, because it's high quality content, you'll find once you start to share it and you go through this process, SEO also starts to happen naturally. You'll have people that +1 your different content, they'll like it, they'll thumbs it, because you're putting high quality content out, because you're also optimizing it, it gets better visibility, and then it starts to gain some momentum. So as you start to share it out to your database and your social media, that's really when it gets a lot of traction. Now, the best part about this process is it's a way to create a maximum amount of content in minimum time. And this is where a lot of people go wrong with their YouTube strategy. They might put 1 or 2 videos up and then expect to take the world by storm. Unfortunately, it just doesn't work like that anymore. You really need to hit this, and you need to hit it hard to get some great results. The competition is coming. So much content is getting uploaded to YouTube. Just onesies and twosies just ain't going to do it. But obviously on the flip side, it needs to be of high enough quality that people actually will engage in it. YouTube now, as part of their ranking algorithm, they're looking at a lot of different metrics, things like engagement in content. If people start watching a video and then they jump out very quickly, that's a bad quality indicator for them, and then they'll push that video further down. So that's why it's so important, and why I recommend this strategy, because you're putting out high quality content. In that one day, you can do a whole bunch of things. You can answer frequently asked questions. You can explain the process that the business actually goes through. You could document case studies of working with clients. You could provide educational material around different topics and things that you provide. Again, all of this is going to be covered in the authority content. I want you to kind of get the takeaway here that to win at YouTube these days, you really need to level up your strategy. You need to create a high quality, large volume of content, and then go through the process through this syndication. So it starts off with YouTube. Then I talked about the blog posts and transcriptions. We also edit those articles then, and then they can get posted out for guest posts and things like that. We also can take the audio tracks and upload it to iTunes. So, I mean, at bare minimum, you can see here one event, 1 day's worth of content, and that's kind of where it'll end for you because the team can step in and complete the remaining parts. There's 240 pieces of content that we'll be getting out there on the web, plus obviously your social shares, and then once you do that, that's when SEO really starts to happen a bit more naturally. Now, every one of these bits of content that gets shared out needs to be SEO optimized. Every content that you ever put out on the web, regardless of what platform, if it's Google Plus, you want to be using tags. If it's Facebook, you also use tags. If it's on your blog, you're going to do some keyword research and have the page optimized when you upload to slide sharing websites, everything. It's always SEO optimized. And how do you find good keywords? Like, no doubt in this course, someone else is going to be covering some keyword selection, but for me, I like to go to the source. You go to Google, you start typing something in, you let the predictive text pop up. You obviously need to match the keyword to the content. That's now more important than ever. You need a good message to market match. So think about, well, what is this video actually about, or what is this piece of content actually about? Type in the root part of that word into Google, and then let Google give you some recommendations and suggestions. You can also hit the search button, and then down the bottom of a search result, they'll have the related searches. That's another way to discover more great keywords. You can also then, if you really can't find enough from there, you can use the keyword ads planner tool in Google AdWords, or you can use something like SEMrush. So they're probably the main tools that we use for keyword optimization, and you want to go for highlight keywords that have a good competitive keyword as part of the keyword itself, and then you can add some extra modifiers on afterwards. For example, a really good one would be Melbourne SEO services. So if you think about it, SEO Melbourne and Melbourne SEO, they're kind of like the more competitive version. But then we add the word services on, which means I can first go for that slightly longer tail phrase. And then once I do that, then I can chunk down to the more competitive phrase. So just keep that in mind when doing your keyword selection. And then when it comes to sharing content, I often like to give little fun examples. Here's a great little video that I did for my wedding. I actually surprised my bride and sung to an Adam Sandler song, Grow Old With You. If you know the wedding singer, you might be familiar with that song, and you can have a look on YouTube to find it, or go to my YouTube channel and you'll see it. It's done incredibly well. I think we're closer to 70,000 views at the moment. I mean, this is not necessarily an SEO example. This is a bit more of a fun example, but I just wanted to use something to illustrate how we do it. We select a keyword, or we get clear on what keyword it is that we're targeting, and this is where you can start to make a few notes on, well, how do you actually optimize a video to get some good results on YouTube. So once you've picked your keyword, you just want to make sure that that keyword appears in your title, and you have it appear in your description, and then you also have it appear in the tags. Now, the tags work a little bit differently than in normal SEO, in that you can go for slightly broader phrases. Usually when you're optimizing for a keyword, let's say for your blog, you would have one primary keyword. You might have a couple of secondary variation keywords, which usually are just variations on the primary keyword. Whereas for YouTube, you can actually pick things that are a little bit more diverse. So you can see there I've got Adam Sandler Grow Old, but I've also got Best Wedding Song. And even though they're not directly related, where this comes into play is more in the related videos. You know, when you're watching YouTube and you're watching a video, and on the right hand side, related videos pop up. the tags are a great way to influence that. In fact, one little trick that I do is you'll notice I've got the tag David Jennings in there, and sometimes I also do Melbourne SEO Services, and something that's a little bit more, let's say, obscure, and I put it in all my videos. And what that does is it ties them all together. So when you're watching a video, then on the related videos that appear on the right hand side, you'll see other videos related to me. Now, related videos are a huge source of traffic through to your videos. So that's a great little strategy. You can have a look at what some of your biggest competitors are up to, have a look at their tags, and see if there's anything that you can do to attach your video to their video by maybe putting an exact match title tag as the tag, whatever the title of their video is, as a tag. So that way you're increasing the chances of you appearing up in the related search or the related videos, and you can get a lot of traffic that way. So there's a nice little tip for you. But I talked about how to find keywords. You basically want to find a keyword, choose one primary keyword, and then that primary keyword is the one that appears in the title, the description, and for your tags, though, you can go a little bit broader. Now, again, that's kind of like the strategy at a per video level, but you need to make sure that you do this on a consistent basis and you do it for a large volume, because there are a few different factors that Google and YouTube are looking at when it comes to relating. Obviously, relevancy is one thing, which we've kind of covered with the keywords, titles, descriptions, tags, those sorts of things. People talk about using transcripts as part of increasing that relevancy and uploading that. Personally, I've run some tests, and now it hasn't been for, I don't know, more than 12 months. But 12 months ago, I actually ran some very specific tests to see whether or not transcripts improved the ranking of YouTube videos, and I didn't have any real data to support that. That may have changed, and it might be worth me taking a little bit of a look, because I hear a lot of people say it, but I know sometimes people say things without actually testing it, but I haven't seen that. For relevancy, for me, it's all about picking the right keyword and then putting it in the right places. Then for engagement, that's all about getting people to comment and share and watch, and how long people actually watch all the way through a video. So you really want to try and put out the high quality content, and they are ranking factors now, the amount of comments and things like that. So one little trick I always do is, one of the first things I do when I put up a video is I'll email my database about it to get an initial flow of views in, to get some initial comments in, and then as YouTube's watching that, then they go, oh, this is a popular video, and then it helps to improve that ranking. But again, that's why putting out rubbish content on YouTube really isn't a strategy that works anymore. And then the final thing is authority. And again, this plays back to why one video and onesies and twosies ain't going to get you any real traction. As you get more and more videos up, you build the authority up of your YouTube channel, and that helps. Again, all boats floating on a rising tide. You build up the authority of your channel, and you'll find that all of your videos tend to do better. So the sooner you can start building up that channel and getting some traction and getting lots of videos and engagement, that's when you're really going to start to get some good traction. So for me, kind of 3 real easy steps. Obviously, embedding the video as much as you can. I always start off by embedding it on my website and putting the transcription underneath. So the transcription underneath is a little bit different than what I'm talking about with embedding the transcription in the video. The transcription in the video is something that you do over at YouTube, whereas the transcription underneath, that when I post it on my blog, the reason I do that is so that there's some keyword, or there's some content for the search engines to sink their teeth into. So it helps with the on-page optimization. Now, all of this stuff, there's great examples as you go through the Authority Content course, and you'll see exactly how this works. Then obviously I mentioned about emailing the database and then sharing out socially. Now that's kind of like step 1. You get high quality content, you upload it, you optimize it, and you share it, and you have a little bit of an initial syndication plan. And then what you do after that is you amplify the winners. So you can really keep a close eye on which bits of content are performing best. You might upload 20 different videos and find that 5 of them tend to perform even better than a lot of these other ones. So you might double down on those 5 and you do extra things for them. You might create an infographic around it. You might try and turn the transcription into a higher quality content post and then do some outreach to get some guest posts and push it a little bit further. You might go to go to Facebook and boost the post or try and get some extra traction that way. Or you might do some additional press releases. I know people say press releases are dead, and I'm not a big fan of PR web these days. We're using a new service called ereleases.com, but we're getting some good traction with that, basically linking to YouTube videos. So a lot of the traditional SEO stuff still applies for videos about embeds and links back to it. So you really want to see what you can do to improve those. But that's all about what this idea of amplifying your winners is about. Now, some videos, they're going to work better than other videos. Not all videos are going to be created equal, as I talked about, and you're obviously going to be amplifying those ones that are doing really well. So this is an example. Sometimes you'll have some videos that really pop, and you'll see, 30,000, 50,000 views. Now, these videos aren't like a viral video, and it's not like they're getting millions and millions of views, but I make 100 times or 1,000 times more money from consistently putting out this authority content than I ever have on any of the viral videos that I've been involved in. So that giant life-size Lego car, we've made so much more money by doing authority content this way and having it drip out. Some videos will only get a few hundred, some will get a few thousand, and some you'll kind of hit out of the park. It's a matter of watching which ones do well, push those even more. That also gives you some indication for future content that you create. Oh wow, this is getting some really great traction, I'm getting some great feedback, maybe I need to go ahead and create some more content like this. Now, I suppose to show you a few more of the numbers, this was the course actually that Dory was involved in. Some of these numbers, they are just a little bit old, but I really just wanted to give you an example of some video clips that I took from the SEO Method 3, which is the course I did before, authority content. You can see 64,000 views. Here are some of the courses from when I was in the stock market education niche. You can see the Triple Your Trading Profits, 383,000 views. The Outsource Profit Machine, Nicholas Darvis, like all of them are just getting some fantastic views. They still get views today, and again, it's all about building these digital assets. Each one of these videos now, for me, is a digital asset that helps to pre-sell my products and services and encourages people to come back to the website. And then when we layer in taking the content and repurposing it, that's really when you just start to get a huge amount of momentum. It is a snowball that starts to grow. You need to do this consistently. You need to do it over a long, prolonged period of time to get traction. But trust me, if you do it, the rewards are worth it, because video, it's that rising, we're on a rising trend. Video is only going to gain more and more popularity, and if you can get in front of that wave now, you'll really reap the rewards in many years to come. It's not going to be any easier in 2 or 3 years' time. The easiest it's ever going to be to get some great YouTube wins is right now. So I'm hoping this has sort of motivated you a little bit to get going and really stick with it. And if you need some further help, there is one thing. You can head over to the melbourneseoservices.com/goodies. And what I want to draw your attention to is the 20-point authority checklist. Now, when you go to this link, you can also download Google's Quality Raters Guidelines. That's just the PDF that they leaked out. And if you haven't yet read that, it's worth reading, because it basically talks about what Google is looking for and what criteria it's using to rank websites and rank content. So you really need to read that, because that kind of like informs the way that you're creating content. But secondly, the 20-point authority checklist. What I've done is I've broken down the 20 most critical points that I've found with working on our own sites and clients' sites that really get the best traction. It's the things that you need to be thinking about and have in place to do well online. And it's about building up that authority, and then all boats float on a rising tide. Anyway, I've rabbited on a little bit there, and we covered a lot of content. Hopefully it really sets the groundwork and the foundation for what you're about to go through with authority content. I'm incredibly proud of this course. We've had some fantastic feedback and results. I'm actually so much so that we're partway through writing a book. So I'm taking all of the content and turning it into a physical book. We're in the final stages of that, and I've chatted with Dory as well. I'm actually looking for potentially some case studies. So if you would like to go through the course, apply the authority content methodology, and then if you want to be a case study, go ahead, reach out with me, and then potentially we can document that case study and get it in the book, and then we'll get you just that little bit of extra exposure, because I'm going to give this book a really good push, and you can just get your name and your company name in front of a larger audience. It would be great if you were in a slightly different niche than, internet marketing or make money online, that sort of thing. If you're in a real world business, that's ideally what I'm looking for. But I know you'll get a lot of value from the course. If you've got any specific questions, please, by all means, at any time, you can reach out to me. I'm here to help. Just head over to melbourneseoservices.com, or you can follow me on Twitter, which is @davidjennings.com. All right, thanks, and wish you all the best.